So, good morning, everybody. Session 6 is on sustainability, earlier the better. And the topics that we will be covering here is achieving sustainability through digital transformation, leveraging sustainable technology, waste management and recycling, energy and water conservation, and climate change mitigation. Let me now introduce you to our speakers. We have Mr. Somaiya, Chairman and Managing Director, Godavari Biorefineries. Having joined Godavari Biorefineries Limited in 1993, Mr. Somaiya has taken the company forward through a focus on economic, social, and environmental sustainability. Mr. Somaiya also plays an active role in initiatives that improve the quality of life of the underprivileged sections of society. Our next speaker is Mr. Maulik Patel, Chairman and Managing Director of Meghmani Finechem Limited. Maulik has been actively leading and managing the Finechem division since the beginning. He has successfully steered the new company into a dynamic organization by gradually building up a team of technocrats and engineers. Next, I have with us Mr. Ankur Singh, Head Strategy and Business Development, DCM Shriram Limited. Ankur brings along over 15 years of experience in chemicals and life sciences industry. He is responsible for formulating the global strategy for the chemical business of the DCM Shriram Group. And next, I would like to welcome Ms. Sabine Pietruch, Data Analytics Engineer at TrendMiner, and she is joining from Germany as part of the customer success team in the Dutch region. Sabine supports TrendMiner users become successful with data analytics along with their analytics journey. We also have Mr. Atsul Mahendra Bhanudas, Manager Sales Clean Technology Systems, Dur India. Mr. Bhanudas has a prolific experience in offering various environmental solutions. At Dur India, he is handling sales of exhaust air and off-gas treatment systems for India, Middle East, and Southeast Asia. So before we begin the presentation, the panel discussion, I would request Mr. Atsul Mahendra Bhanudas, Manager Sales, Clean Technology System, Dur India, to give his presentation. So over to Mr. Atsul Mahendra Bhanudas.
So thank you everyone here. I would like to thank you organizers here, and it is a pleasure to share and present here on the topic of exhaust air pollution control technologies for chemical industries. So the topic of discussion here is on the brief introduction on the DUR group, the division of clean technology systems, which offering the exhaust air pollution system, and the DUR references. So the DUR was established in 1896 and celebrating its centennial anniversary. The DUR group is one of the global leader in mechanical and plant engineering, having headquarters in Bettingham, Bessingen at Germany. It is having outstanding expertise in the field of automation and digitalization industry for platform of different industrial manufacturing processes. DUR works worldwide with 116 locations across 33 countries. The DUR group operates in the market by 3 brand names, that is DUR Systems, Singh, and Comagro. Under these 3 brand names, there are 5 product verticals, out of which there are 3 are looking after by DUR Systems. So the paint and final assembly systems, mainly plants, builds and upgrade turnkey paint shops and final assembly lines for automotive industry. So we are one of the few companies worldwide capable for supplying turnkey plants. In addition to that, we are providing the filling technology and the testing technology. So in filling technology segment supplies the systems for filling vehicles in the final assembly process, for example, with oil and the brake pads. The major products in testing technology includes end-of-the-line stands and the calibration stations for brakes, electronics, and the chassis geometry. So in the application technology, in addition to the paint application technology, we are active in the 2 related business fields, that is sealing technology and the green technology. Sealing processes are basically used for sealing seams, applying underbody protections, and injecting insulating material in cars. And in green technology is used, for instance, for fitting windows, glass roofs, and the cockpit and the tanks. So here, here in clean technology systems, we are providing the clean technology systems operates mainly in the field of exhaust air purification technology. So our systems are used in the chemical, petrochemical, and pharmaceutical industries, as well as the sectors such as printing, mining, oil and gas, automotive, woodworking industry, and the carbon fiber production. So, the following with the successful acquisition and integration of our US environmental technology companies called Meghmani and Universal, we are now the world's leading supplier with a market share of almost 25%. So, in addition to that, we have strengthened our product portfolio, which includes the acoustic solutions with offerings of noise abatement systems and the coating systems for battery reactors, as well as by offering the solvent recovery systems for purification and removal of high value solvents. Then further, the Carl Schenck is a global market leader in the field of balancing and diagnostic technologies, as well as providing solutions for automated filling of refrigerant air conditioning systems and heat pumps with refrigerants. Further, with that, Homa Group is a world-leading supplier of woodworking solutions by providing machinery systems, which include machines, software, services, along with procedures of the production of furniture, floorings, doors, windows, and the timber house constructions. So altogether, company is having 3.3 billion euros market share, and approximately 16,500 employees are catering to the customers worldwide. So in India profile, we have established India office in 1997 with our PFS, APT, and CTS divisions with our above mentioned product portfolios. We have a head office in Chennai, and more than 330 employees are catering to the customers. We have more than 50 plus installations in India, and we have worked with more than 30 plus OEMs in the sector of automotive, chemical, petrochemical, and other industry segments. So to start with the clean technology systems here, see every industry emits some pollutants like volatile organic components, then carbon oxide, then hazardous air pollutants, and some awful odors. So they are really worried to how to treat this and how to meet the emission norms prescribed by the central pollution control boards and the state pollution control boards. So to cater these requirements of the customers, we have a product portfolio called oxidizers and direct fire thermal oxidizers, in which we are offering regenerative thermal oxidizers, regenerative catalytic and recuperative catalytic oxidizers, and it is known in the market by brand name of OxyX and the CatX. Further to that, we are offering with the solvent recovery systems, in which we are offer carbon adsorption systems and concentration and condition systems. Along with that, we are offering adsorption as well as wet scrubbers, which is known in the market by SoftX. Further to that, cater the requirement of particulates in the exhaust air stream, and to control the NOx and SOx requirements and the hydrogen sulfide requirement with SO2 acid gas requirements. We are in the offering of dry and wet electrostatic precipitators, as well as selective catalytic and non-selective catalytic systems. Along with that, we are into offering of non-regenerative carbon adsorption systems and acid gas absorbers, which is known by the market in part X. Along with that, we are providing the service X, in which we are taking care of the customers. We are fulfilling the customer needs and requirement here with our service locations in Chennai, Bangalore, Pune, Ahmedabad, and Noida. So I'll quickly take you through the air pollution control technology called regenerative thermal oxidizer with the working principle. So here, from the various process fields, we are taking the exhaust air stream with the help of air blower. It enters the RTO system. So RTO system is basically 2 or 3 chambers, and additional to that, there are inside this RTO, there are 3 compartments. There is lower compartment, middle compartment, and the upper compartment. So with the help of this puppet wall, the process air ins into the system, and here in this middle chamber, there are high efficiency ceramic honeycomb heat transfer medias are installed, so which the process is heated with the help of preheated with a certain temperature, and it enters into the combustion chamber. So in combustion chamber, the burners are mounted to give an heat, desired heat for the oxidation. So in the oxidation, we ensures that there is a complete combustion of VOCs, and it works on the principle of 3Ts, that is time, temperature, and the turbulence. So our efficient design system ensures that enough residence time is there, the temperature, sufficient temperature for the destruction of VOCs, and the complete mixing of the process air. So here, once this the oxidation reaction takes place here in the combustion chamber, and after the destruction of VOCs, it converted into to the CO2 and the water. So after the complete oxidation, the process here then pass this to from the second chamber here. So, and it in the second chamber, the heat is again absorbed by these heat transfer medias, and the clean air is then exhausted to the atmosphere by following with the guidelines prescribed by the CPCB. In addition to that, after this first process complete, then second operation start, that the cycle switch to the chamber B to C, that is heating to cooling zone and cooling to purge zone. And with the further cycle, the shift switch to the chambers C to A and A to B. So this is the overall operating principle of regenerative thermal oxidizer. So I'll just quickly take you through the functionality of the regenerative thermal oxidizer within a short video. Thank you. So in addition to that, we can further recover the energy out of the pollutants with an addition of recuperators after this RTO package, as well as we can treat further halogens, and depending upon the VOCs and the process here, we can further this to treat this with the clincher and the scrubber technology, as well as the NOx and SOx can be removed with the SCR and SNCR technologies, and further this can be treated, and the clean air is then exhausted to the atmosphere. So here there are with our the benefits of our RTO technology are, with our efficient design technology, we ensure that low emissions of VOCs, COs, and the NOx concentrations. Then we ensure the low energy consumption out of our systems. Then we can provide an additional energy recovery from with the pollutants with our systems, as well as we can handle the high flow rates of process airs, as well as with the high temperature, and we can take a high concentrated VOCs and stringent type of VOCs we can handle with our RTO technologies. And of course, we can then ensure the complete destructions of these pollutants more than 99%. So in addition to that, every chemical industry having different processes and then having different requirement of solvents. So these solvents are high value solvents. Sometimes it needs to be removed, sometimes it needs to be recovered, and it needs to be purified, and it can be reusable. So depending upon the requirement of these solvents, we cater our regenerative carbon absorption systems for treatment of the process exhaust air streams, which known as solvent recovery systems. These are the few installations of chemical segments for the regenerative type thermal oxidizer. And further, these are the installation for solvent recovery systems for different recoveries of chemical, petrochemical, and pharmaceutical industry, as well as printing and packaging industries. So this is, we are proud to say that we are having more than 10,000 installations worldwide with our technologies, and these are the few privileged customers which we have supplied our systems, and we are associated with them. So that's all from my side. Thank you.
And now we will start the panel discussion. please stay in the panel discussion, and Sud. So I would request all our speakers to please switch on their video so that people can see you. Let me start with Mr. Samir Somaiya ji and ask him, see, what I will do is I will have 3 rounds. The first round would be just a 60-second of an overview. Follow it up with then 2 more rounds. So I would request everybody to be concise and precise. My first question to all here would be, why sustainability is important? And I will start with Mr. Samir Somaiya. So your 60 seconds, sir.
Thank you. 60 seconds is a good, quick clip, but growing up, I always remember saying a prayer in the morning which ended with, Vishnu Patni Namastubhyam, Padas Parsham Kshamasvame, which means, forgive me, Dharti, the earth, for stepping on you. And I think it means that we should all live life with a light footprint as we walk through it. And I think current awareness has shown that we are all leading life with a very heavy footprint and not keeping the earth healthy for the generations to come. Sustainability now, immediately, is required, so we gift what we have received better to the generations that come after us. Thank you.
I would request Mr. Maulik Patel for your 60-second comments on why sustainability is important.
Sustainability is very important because as a country, as a India, we are from the beginning we are dependent heavily on we don't have any resources for the oil or any fossil fuel. We are heavily dependent on the gas infrastructure and the oil infrastructure. We are completely importer. So when you don't have a resources, that time you focus on the sustainable kind of thing like solar, wind, renewable energy, or hydro energy. Recycling of the water also, it is very important resources right now for the industry, and the energy. So energy and water is, if you conserve, and that is going to be the future. So as the industry is growing, demand is growing in India. If you do not recycle, do not think about the recycle of the chemicals, recycle of the waste, recycle of the solid, how you can reduce the solid waste in your industry, you cannot sustain it, you cannot grow. So for growth of the industry, of growth of India, growth of consumption of India, you have to think sustainable for a longer period of time.
I request Mr. Ankur Singh for his 60 seconds.
Thanks, Pravin. I think Mr. Somaiya and Maulik has given a good brief. I think it's surprisingly that we are looking sustainability in isolation. In fact, this should have been a part of business long back. It's actually inherent in the business. It's a part of your resources which you're feeding to your overall ecosystem of business operations. And unfortunately, we have not done it efficiently. And therefore, suddenly we realize that while the business is growing, the means, the resources are depleting. Therefore, the time has gone by where you have to look sustainability of your critical resources in isolation. It has to be part of your business discussion. The way you've been doing business today may not be the way you'll be doing the business tomorrow, because now you are forced to think differently. So I think this time has come where sustainability and business survival has to seem hand in hand, and it has to be part of everyday thinking, the way we are operating the business.
Thank you, Ankur Singh ji. Sabine, how do you look at sustainability? And TrendMiner has been trying to, what we can say, through digital technologies, trying to limit it or eliminate it. But I wanted to understand from you whether you are in the same page as the chemical industry people, whether Meghmani, whether Godavari Biorefinery, or whether DCM Shriram. So how do you look at sustainability? And why is it important for us?
Yes, well, I think sustainability is obviously very important, and I see it more as a responsibility that we have for the future generations. I think digital tools can really help to provide, to make sure that the world that we have nowadays, with the comfort that we have nowadays, can be passed on to future generations. So it is very well documented now that global warming and carbon emissions and environment pollution will really decrease our life quality, and I think digital tools nowadays are really important to avoid that, because we have these responsibilities for the future generations.
So after these 60 seconds of a brief intro on sustainability, now let me come back to the second track, and I will give you 4 minutes each. And the focus here would be what is or what are the activities that your company is doing in terms of sustainability. Somebody is focusing on energy and water conservation. Somebody is focusing on, say, feedstock. Somebody is focusing on the processes. Somebody is focusing on products. And Mahendra Atsulji was talking about, say, pollution control kind of a thing, noise part of it, clean tech systems, coating for battery electrodes, and systems for solvent recovery. So wanted to understand from you, because that will give us a very good picture on how things are. And then we will go back and understand from the solution providers how they plan to eliminate your problems or the challenges. And even if you have deployed them, there are still something which you are not able to do in 100% scale. So keeping that into view, I will then come back to those solution providers and get the answers from whatever that you are talking about. So starting with Mr. Samir Somaiya.
Thank you. Mr. Prashant, Pravin Prashant. Maulik mentioned about need for renewable feedstocks, and that we cannot continue to operate on a fossil economy. So on feedstocks, for example, our company is doing a lot of work on renewable feedstocks. There's a very big difference in mindset between what is renewable and what is fossil. With fossil, it is very clear. What you have today will be less than what you had yesterday. And that continues in that direction. With renewable, if you are a good steward of the earth, if you farm it well, and if you look care of the soil microbiome, you can ensure that what you have tomorrow will be as good as what you have today. But you have to do a lot of work in creating these renewables. Ultimately, renewable feedstock that come from agriculture is also solar power. Ultimately, solar power is what gives chlorophyll and what creates this carbohydrate economy that we have. So, as a company, we're doing a lot of work in this world. The second thing, and so when you also the farming itself, we're trying to see how we can do low carbon farming and try, so that also makes you a gentle footprint on the earth. The second thing is, in green processes, we are all talking about a cascading biorefinery or a circular economy. Cascading means any stream that you have, all of them are looked at as value streams. How can that value stream be used to further valorize, to create other products? Circular, again, is what you make, what is the complete circularity, what kind of circular economy? It's not just that you produce something, you took it, it's linear, and then you put it in the landfill. How do you keep reusing it? How does it keep coming back? So as a company, we're very much focusing on how we try to create such processes that look at circularity as well. And, finally, what kind of products that you make from it? There are two kinds of products that you do. One product would be a drop-in, which is a complete duplicate of what you make from a fossil resource. That is very clearly an option that you want to do. And the other question is also, can you make different chemicals that not only meet the spec or the performance of what a fossil product can do, but can you create beyond the drop-in? That means the product that you make has better properties than what you are substituting for. And so that is the kind of green. So you're not only sourcing it well, you're producing it through green chemistry principles, and your product, creating a product which is performance-wise better than what you are substituting. And this entire thing has to be done in a spirit of partnership. There is a huge demand now by the population that you need to have a more sustainable, climate-friendly world. So there are a lot of customers who are wanting, there are people who are demanding this from companies, and therefore our suppliers, customers demand it from us. And similarly, this chain has to go to our vendors. So it has to be a spirit of partnership. We all have to work together to create this more sustainable environment and world that we live in. So this is how we at Godavari are trying to address this issue holistically. And I would like to also make one point that sustainability is also so environmental and social. So the community has to thrive in what we do.
I see a vast field in your background picture, whether it is picture or the field itself. I do not know. You would be in a better position to clarify. I had one additional question, sir. You deal in a lot of sugarcane and you have the bagasse, the solid and the liquid part of it. So how do you reuse, or how are you planning to reuse these things? Because that would be very appropriate, whether you come out with a specialty chemical, whether you try to use the bagasse for other things so that it can be used as a brick or whatever. So I just wanted to know how are you utilizing this, sir?
No, bagasse is currently we use bagasse as a to make power, electricity, which we feed into the grid. It's also greenhouse gas mitigating because the sugar cane that is grown consumes the carbon dioxide, which otherwise when you burn the bagasse, it generates that. But we do look at bagasse as a future feedstock for cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin derivatives. So there's definitely work in specialities. There is a good future out there. And the field behind me is actually a field. Yes, it is sugarcane and sugar beet being intercropped, so that you can derive more carbohydrate from the same field. And so this is various ways of research in which you can make multi product.
That's the advantage of Samir ji, that he comes up with these new innovative ideas and this background with gels with the sustainability part of it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now let me come to Maulik ji. Maulik ji, you have been using this sustainable technology, whether we call it the catalytic chemistry or the hydrogenation part of it. And you are also talking about, say, waste management and recycling, the sulfuric acid waste, which you are planning to recycle and use it through the distillation process. So please explain us, how are you planning to use these for within your company?
Yeah, thank you, Prashant. I think Mr. Somaiya ji has explained very well entire how the chemicals, how the cascading effect, how the circular thing works in the industry. But I will go a little deep what we are doing in our industries. We are manufacturing hydrogen peroxide and hydrogen gas. So in current industry, you must be aware about that. Very small scale and medium scale industries, they don't use hydrogen in the chemical process. But if you see in last 5 years, there has been big change. People change completely from iron acid reduction into the hydrogenation technology. So more and more small and medium scale also started using the hydrogenation technology, which actually reduce the solid waste, which is generation of the iron acid solid waste, which is highly hazardous. So that is one part of it. Another is a hydrogen peroxide, which we have started manufacturing. Earlier the only hydrogen peroxide consumption was only into the textile and the paper industries. But currently, if you see in the chemical process, the usage of hydrogen peroxide, it has increased, as well as in the environmental effluent treatment plant for the oxidation process. So many hydrogen peroxide reactions, people are carrying in the agrochemical and the pharmaceutical industry, which can reduce the pollution as well as the carbon emission. So that is a huge shift. We are also seeing in India, many customers have started a chemistry which is based on the hydrogen peroxide, and this will definitely it is a long-term and the sustainable solution for the chemical industry in India. The third part, as we have already announced epichlorohydrin project, which is completely on the renewable feedstock, which is palm oil based biodiesel production. They have a co-product called glycerin. So glycerin is going to be feedstock instead of propylene, which is a conventional process in the western part of the world. So we are going to use completely glycerin based epichlorohydrin plant, which is 50,000 ton plant, and which is going to commission in next 6 months, in a Q1 next financial year. So it is 100% on the green chemistry and in the renewable sources. So this three is a big change in the Indian chemical industry we see in coming times. Another is we also believe that a lot of circular economy, as you know, all the waste you generate when you produce different chemical reaction like the dilute sulfuric acid or hydrochloric acid or dilute acetic acid, you know, you do many reactions. If you have, you know, the energy is competitive in India in coming times, and if you are growing bigger and bigger, you can't, you know, this kind of, you know, chemicals you need to recycle. And, you know, so people are thinking in this directions, how you can recycle this sulfuric acid from dilute to again make it in a usable condition for the reusable. And many companies are started doing it. And we are also thinking the same time, same hydrochloric acid, how you generate the liquid and how you convert it back to the gas and you reuse it in the downstream chemical manufacturing. That also people started thinking about it. And the third is the acetic acid, which is, you know, many people, they use acetic anhydride, which generates acetic acid as a dilute stream. So how people recycle it, it completely acetic acid, and how you can recycle it to manufacture again back to acetic anhydride. That also people started thinking as the company is growing, as the country is growing, and the consumption is growing. So these are the big changes in happening in the chemical industries. Earlier, the small and medium scale and the size was not, you know, enough in India. So people are not thinking in these directions, but now everyone started thinking in these directions to make it more competitive and global competitive, you know, globally competitive to compare the global players in the world. Mr. Pravin ji, silent. Yeah.
Thank you, Maulik ji. Now I come to Mr. Ankur Singh ji. Sir, you are focusing on energy and water conservation as well as on green chemistry. So wanted to know what are the activities that you are doing at DCM Shriram with respect to sustainability.
Thanks, Pravin. I think Mr. Somaiya and Maulik has put across their view very efficiently on both the critical topics. In fact, DCM is actually a combination of both the ecosystems, because we have a very strong sugar business going up to the ethanol with bagasse power. At the same time, we have an agrochemical business. And at the back end, we have a bulk chemical business, which is caustic soda, going up to the hydrogen peroxide. And we are also in process of setting up an epichlorohydrin plant via glycerine route. So this is more of a chemical manufacturing plant process, what we are looking at towards the greener value chain. The another element towards overall ecosystem being green is a feed part, which is energy. Now, we in our chemical setup, we operate huge sizes of power plant. It's a power intensive business. At our Bharuch site, we are operating close to 120 megawatt power plant. Another 120 megawatt power plant is in the process. I think the first, what we are also trying to look at how to optimize this power consumption via various methods. One of the way could be via digitization in terms of the technology. Can we do the predictive analysis of our annual operating processes and annual utilization and link our power consumption to that, so that there is an element of energy saving. The second element which come in very critically is the water consumption, to be fair. And unfortunately, one of the the way industry look at the water consumption is comparing it with the allocated limit by the regulatory authority. In fact, the time has come where most of the producing companies should look at water as a per unit consumption and how to reduce this on an annual basis. Because perhaps after energy, the water is going to be the one commodity which would be scarce so far as the chemical growth is concerned. And looking at the whole agrarian crisis in India, the government is going to regulate the water consumed by industry. We still do not have enough desalinization plants. So therefore, this is the one area I strongly see that we're going to work upon. Another area which we are looking at is basically chemistries where the feedstock is at the cusp of substitution. One example which Maulik gave, and we are also into it, which is a glycerine-based ECH. There are a host of bulk chemistries where the feedstock is under the process of substitution via novel technologies towards the greener feedstock. Industry as whole is trying to resist petro-based feedstock or the intermediate chemical which are hazardous to handle. That is one trend which, if it's sustainable, will actually make the whole industry go for a very drastic shift, because India by design is short on a petrol feedstock. If we rely heavily on the substitution of these feedstock into greener one, perhaps we have a more sustainable future. Lastly, coming back to what Mr. Somaiya has talked about, the green chemistry, I see this particular situation evolving into a much bigger opportunity, because sooner or later, this whole green value chain would be pushed by the consuming sector, not by the producers. While at this point of time, we don't see too many incentives, but maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, we see host of demand emerging from a greener chemistry, and primarily pushed by the consumers, not by the producers. So if in nutshell, I see on the feedstock side and on the technology side, the industry as such at a very interesting juncture. And I see a lot of these dynamics will change significantly. And therefore, our investment strategies are aligned with those changes wherever possible. We would like to increase our green footprint. We have been known as a company with a responsible attitude towards environment and sustainability. And going forward, that would be our key agenda as we are going.
Thank you, Ankurji. Sabine, you heard all the chemical company speakers, and you are focusing on sustainability through advanced analytics. So how do you see you solving their problem using advanced analytics? And if you can give examples so that they can correlate in terms of how things can be done. And if you can also talk about, somebody also talked about energy, what we can say, reducing power. So how do you see the energy transition also happening at the same time? So over to you, Sabine.
Yes, thank you. So I'm data analytics engineer at TrendMiner. So TrendMiner is a self-service analytics platform. So typically in the chemical industry, the processes generate a lot of data coming from all the sensors, so time series data, but also contextual data, information about maintenances. And this platform, TrendMiner, is intended for process experts, so process engineers, operators, maintenance teams, the people really dealing with that process on a daily basis. And the idea is to enable these people to analyze their data themselves. And we provide the platform to do this, TrendMiner, with packaged functionalities. And we also provide continuous support for them to succeed with self-service analytics. So when you provide a tool of data analysis to process engineers, they can have a huge impact to increase sustainability in their industry. Because with these tools, you can access to all the historical data of the plant. It enables them to analyze the data, to see and to leverage this data to optimize the production and to reduce emissions, for example. So you can detect anomalies in the process, you can detect improvement areas. And in the case of sustainability, which is the topic right now, it can be used to reduce carbon dioxide emissions, to use raw materials more efficiently, and to also conserve energy. So to give some concrete examples, if you refer to some testimonials from companies such as Lanxess. Lanxess is a leading company in the chemical industry in Europe and in India. They said that TrendMiner has enabled them to lower their carbon dioxide emissions and therefore limit their impact on the environment. And at the same time, it has also helped them optimize their productivity. Another example, in another site in the oil and gas industry, TrendMiner has been used to optimize a sulfur recovery unit. So it's a process that is used to capture the sulfur and avoid it being released in the environment. And what we managed with this process is to optimize it, and it resulted in a reduction of sulfur dioxide emission by 15%. So those are very concrete examples of how process engineers and operators can increase sustainability by improving their processes with self-service analytics. And to come to your question about the energy transition, there are two aspects where TrendMiner can help for the energy transition. On the one hand, TrendMiner can help improving the energy efficiency of the existing processes. So it is estimated that improving the energy efficiency in the chemical industry can lead up to 20% of total emission savings. And with an analytics platform such as TrendMiner, you can really achieve that because you can visualize all your data related to your energy consumption. You can detect and monitor events of excessive consumption. You can detect anomalies, and you can investigate the root cause for these anomalies. So you already achieve a lot of big results by focusing on the operational efforts in a day-to-day basis. And the other topic where TrendMiner can help is the retrofitting of the processes and process changes to adapt to more sustainable technologies. For example, we have a case where TrendMiner helped to determine the effectiveness of an investment, monitor the current performances, and of course, to identify the root cause of possible issues, such as production losses. So in conclusion, with a self-service analytics tool like TrendMiner, we can make the energy transition faster, cheaper, more scalable, and also more transparent.
One question to you, Sabine, is apart from the government regulations that all chemical companies follow, which sustainability will help them in a bigger way? What should they start with apart from the government part?
Apart from the government policies, you said?
Apart from the government regulation, which says, okay, you will have to take care of these things, which sustainability processes that the company should follow, which will give them maximum benefit in the beginning?
Well, I think apart from sustainability improvements, you can also perform other operational improvements with data analytics with TrendMiner. So we already talked how it can help for reducing gas emissions to contribute to energy savings. But of course, there are many other areas where TrendMiner can be used. For example, we can talk about waste management. So in TrendMiner, you can analyze if the utilities that you are using are used in an optimized way. So your water, your air, your steam. And for example, in the case of water, you can check if your water treatment is optimized to avoid rejecting polluted water to the environment, and to see if your water consumption could be optimized. So to avoid using clean water in a sustainable point of view, but also for economical point of view to reduce waste of investments. And TrendMiner also enables a fast and effective communication within your organization between different teams. So that can also contribute to improved operational processes.
Thank you, Sabine. Now I come to Mahendra, Atsul Mahendra Bhanudas. So you have heard all the chemical companies, and they were talking about what kind of sustainability solutions, and you also explained in your presentation. So which solution are chemical companies opting for more, and how do you plan to, what we can see that the other solutions are also being picked up? So over to Mr. Mahendra also.
Thank you, Pravin. So yes, the environmental sustainability is an important factor. In environmental sustainability can be applied in the many ways, such as creating an alternative route in the production processes to reduce the waste generation and increase the air, water, and energy efficient investment in the investments in the renewable energy, in also growing momentum among the big organizations. So to cater these requirements, the use of our products and the system has a significant impact on the environment. So for instance, the operation of large-scale paint shops require the high input of energy resource and material. So we are therefore working on the reducing the negative environment impact on our products. So for example, by reducing the consumption of forces, noise abatement, and the materials. So with the digital technologies are becoming increasingly important in these processes, and enabling the consumption of our resources, that water, energy, and the need of fresh air in the production to be analyzed and further optimized. So by reducing this environmental footprint of our products, we help our customer achieve their sustainability goals, whether it in the decarbonization, in prevention of waste, or reduction of resource consumption. So we are convinced that this function will continue to gain strategic importance as a sustainability enables. So we therefore expect that in addition to focusing on the cost and production efficiency, customers will increasingly take into account with the technology provider contributes most to the achievement of sustainability goals when their orders. So here with our exhaust air purification systems, we are forcing with our regenerative thermal oxidation systems. In addition to that, we are additionally providing the solvent recovery systems for paint and coatings and substance which are unpleasant odors. So which are also treated using in the exhaust air purification systems, and in the exhaust air from the chemical industries such as if you take an example of chlorine, bromine, then fluoride, sulfur, and the nitrogen components, then this carcinogenic formaldehyde. So to treat this treat and the removal of this exhaust air using our DO technologies, we are oxidation plants installed in our in worldwide. With our customers, we are able to reduce their the greenhouse emissions by around total of around 100 million metric tons per year. So if you give an additional example, apart from the RTO technologies, we are into providing the flameless regenerative thermal oxidizers. That is called OxyXRV. So this system basically operates with the electricity and achieve a VOC exhaust air purification level of around 99.7%. Which is in a flameless operation. So it does not produce a thermal nitrogen oxides into that, and the product portfolio of the thermal processes is supplemented by the latest advanced product development of wet electrostatic precipitators, that is called Part XPV, which was recently presented by our Dual Medtech acquisition. So this is an exhaust air purification system that efficiently separate fine dust, acid mist, as well as aerosols from industrial gases, and it permits compliance with applicable environmental regulations and the protection of downstream equipment, you can say. So in addition to that, with the sustainability aspect that can lead to an entrepreneurial risk and are another important field of action that sustainability management at the Bureau is not only about accessing and avoiding the risk, but also about exploiting opportunities. So with regard increased legal sustainability requirement for our products, mainly as soon as an opportunity. So as a company that has been approaching the market with the claim that leading the production efficiency. So we are since bring it from 2012. So we ourselves is a good starting position for this area.
Thank you, Mahendra. Let me take a short quiz break, and there are a lot of Amazon vouchers which needs to be given to the delegates. So I would request the delegates to please answer their question in Ask a Question box. I repeat, please answer your question in Ask a Question box, which is on the top left-hand side of your screen or on the platform that you are connected. So I'm asking you the first question. So there will be 3 questions that I will be asking in series, and I would request you to please type in your answers there. My first question is, this is very simple. I think many will give this answer. Who is the Minister of State for Chemical and Fertilizers in Government of India? Who is the Minister of State for Chemical and Fertilizers in Government of India? The second question is, and this is based on the market size. what is the current chemicals and petrochemicals market in India? I repeat, what is the current chemicals and petrochemicals market in India? And the third question is global in nature. And I thought of giving you from India perspective to take you to the global aspect. Name of the company which is the world's largest chemical manufacturer. Name of the company which is the world's largest chemical manufacturer. So with this, I end the quiz break. I will announce the winners at the end of this session, and we'll give you the Amazon vouchers. We will send you Amazon vouchers through the digital route. So coming back, so we have ended the two rounds. And now I come to the third round, and here we will talk about the policy. We will talk about climate change, and we will talk about other aspects in terms of how operational improvement can be taken upon. So let me first understand from Samir ji. You have talked about your company. Now I want what government should do, because a lot of governments are working on it. China is working in a different model. The best model is to close them. Or to say that, okay, you work 2 a day, twice a day, or thrice a day kind of a thing. But that's just a temporary thing that you are looking at, and that's what we should not do for. So your suggestions on what the government should do, and with the kind of experiences or with the kind of other countries where they have followed the best practices. So over to Samir ji.
I think innovation doesn't always work in a vacuum. You need a very favorable policy environment in which you can create innovations that address the change you seek. In the Indian government example, they've articulated a very ethanol blending program, which has caused a lot of people in the sugar industry to switch to ethanol blending. And you're seeing how you're moving towards a renewable feedstock. Similarly, in chemicals, when we're talking about next generation chemicals, I think the governments have to create a policy which similarly incentivizes us to switch towards products and that are much better and lighter on the climate. In various countries, whether it is the US or whether it is Europe, there are interesting discussions and policy environments to move towards this different carbon environment, or a lower carbon environment, whether there are carbon markets in California or whether something, Renova Bio in Brazil, and what Europe is doing. I don't have so much knowledge about exactly what is happening in each country, but I do know that many countries are working on market mechanisms on carbon pricing to encourage and incentivize companies to develop processes that are going to be environmentally friendly, and also for supply chain such that customers are also encouraged to buy products from such sources. So in case, there is often, if there is a price gap, then that can be mitigated. So this is what I would say, a policy environment which is favorable to incentivize companies to move towards this renewable feedstocks and green chemistry.
Or can we have something of a graded system where companies who are doing best in terms of sustainability getting some sort of reduction in taxes or something of that sort? So what you are doing is, on the one hand, you are also trying to promote those companies, and the second hand, the best practices can also be learned by the other companies so that they follow them and do better for the environment.
I can't comment, because I just think that we need to understand what are the best ways to do this. Learn from what are the experiments happening in different parts of the world, and also thought processes happening internally. and then create that policy environment to accelerate change.
Maulik bhai, if you can talk about from a climate change perspective, you were yesterday you gave a very brilliant message to the minister. So, in terms of sustainability, any messages for the industry and for the government?
Yeah, so sustainable things for the climate change, and I would like to say that we don't have a one nation, one policy. Every state is working in terms of the energy; they are independent, and that's why any what we plan at the central level, it is not implemented at the right time. So even in the solar and wind, when we are going and we have a big vision, our Prime Minister has a big vision for the solar and wind and the renewable energy. But at the state level, the policies are not clear. So if it is driven from the central level and it is uniformity is there for all the states, I think we can implement in a much faster way. Another thing is, energy is the backbone of chemical industries. And so far, many associations, as I mentioned yesterday also, many associations has mentioned that, it should be part of GST. But still, it is out of GST as of now. And, we hope that if it has to be sustainable solutions and people want that many investment, the country should, company should grow along with the country, then definitely the energy is the backbone of chemical industry, and for a level playing field of all global players, this is must for India, and it is the right time right now. Another thing is, I believe that the China and India, China and western part of the world like US, they've grown. Every company, small, medium, large scale, all are having a tie-up with a university. So whatever they do, research, whatever, we talk a lot about China, that they have taken all the technology from the western part of the world. So they have not done something unique. But, after taking over the technology from the western part of the world, they have done themselves, R&D with tying up. How can they improve further? Yield point of view, recycle point of view, energy point of view. So they have thought about it, and every company is already, they have a tie with R&D center, which is with the university. So all university professors are in tie-up with small scale or medium scale. So that is a beauty about it. And I think in India, we should look on a longer term point of view, as a sustainable point of view. Every company, small, medium, big, has to tie up with the university. And that is a big force we have. But still, we are not thinking in that direction. So we expect in coming times, CSR activity has to be part of in this direction as well. And that kind of policy has to be done from the government side, and that is long-term and a sustainable solution, in the coming times for the future growth of India.
Ankurji, your thoughts, one on achieving sustainability through digital transformation, and any help, support, or any, what we can say, any advice to the government that if, like Maulik talked about, one nation, one policy, so irrespective of the state, it becomes very easy. So everybody knows this is the template which needs to be followed. So everybody goes for it, and irrespective of wherever your plant is located. So over to Mr. Ankur.
Yeah, no, Pravin, you're absolutely right. In fact, I'll phrase my answer into three parts. One is, of course, the opportunity. If I look at the chemical as an industry, and I say chemical and associated industry, the coming decade is the best opportunity because the way the global economy is shaping up and people are looking at alternate to China. The second element of this is that policy supports towards the feed or towards the costs element, and the policy supports toward the finished product and the market creation. Samir ji talked about green chemical, ethanol as a feed. Now, ethanol availability for the chemical is not present in India. All the players who are into chemicals made from ethanol has to import. Is there a way where government can incentivize people who are going into the greener chemistry via ethanol route in some kind of import duty support and other things? Because blending may continue for another 10 year, 15 year, and to that tune, the industry have to depend on the imports of ethanol to make a greener chemical per se. The second element is towards the cost side. One element which Maulik talked about, the uniform policy on the renewable energy side at a different stage. For example, Rajasthan has a different policy and Gujarat has different policy, while government is trying a lot to make the cheaper renewable, but still on the landed basis is equally is still costly for most of the chemical producers. On the digitization front, I think on the both on the greener value chain and digitization, I think I would expect government and especially the regulatory authorities to support the industries and the companies who are proactively investing in these areas via faster clearances. For example, if I'm putting up a chemical complex based on relatively new technology or greener technology with less carbon footprint, my clearance window should be quicker. I should not be queue up in the same way as other players are. Similar way, the availability of resources such as electricity, land, and other things should be fast-tracked. My investment into digitization should be given, if it is significant, should be given some element of in tax incentive or the support or some kind of, it should become under the R&D gamut in case it demonstrates a sizable impact. That is where most of the chemical company will proactively invest into it. Digitization itself is at a very nascent stage, the way R&D is. And as Maulik says, that we need to really look at the institutions. The problem is we don't have much of an institutions in India. We have only 2 or 3 whom we can actually go for a kind of small R&D work. Otherwise, we have to invest our own. So these proactive investments, which chemical as an industry has to do to improve the operational efficiency, has to be supported. Otherwise, how we claim that we're going to be the global cost leader? If we are dreaming to defeat China, we have to support our cost structures. And even today, while we have a good process chemistry, we are still not cost leaders in global chemical industry. And there is a long way to go. So I think the government has to understand the need and support us in terms of optimizing our cost structures. And it will automatically show into the finished products and the cost structure reaching to the customers. So that's my view on overall incentives, which I'm looking from the government side.
Thank you, Ankurji. Sabine, if you can talk about any advice for Indian companies with respect to sustainability and clubbing it with advanced analytics or the digitalization part, and areas for operational improvement that you see.
Yes, to Indian companies that want to start their digitalization journey, I would say, well, it is first very important to collect the data that you are producing from your processes, but it is also even more important to have the right tools to analyze this data. And with the right tools, with the right platform, you can improve your performances tremendously. You can increase your process sustainability really a lot. So as a piece of advice, I would say, as soon as you have your roadmap for digitalization, start small. Get your first success cases. Reach your low-hanging fruits, the things that you can easily achieve, such as improved efficiency, reducing your energy. And then increase gradually the utilization of the digital tools in your industry. So what you can do is monitor and document constantly the improvements and your success cases and all the results that you achieved with these tools. And as a last thought, I think digitalization journey can be overwhelming. So it is good to find a good partner who can help you with this, a partner who has experience with this and who can help you using the existing resources to support you on your journey.
So does your software model also, apart from providing the analytics, does it also say that, okay, if you do this, it will help you better the solution or better the efficiency, or it will help you in better or low pollution norms, or how is it?
So the idea of TrendMiner is that it's a self-service analytics software. So we provide the tool with packaged functionalities. For example, functionality of searches in your historical data, functionalities of visualizing, of setting up monitors. We do not provide the analysis for you. In the end, it's up to the process engineer, the person who works on the process, the operators, because these people who know their process are the best suited people to know where the problems are and to know what could be improved. So the tool, well, I mean, we as TrendMiner are not going to tell you, you should do this in order to achieve that. It's up to the process engineer to perform this analysis, but we provide the continuous support to help you how to use the software. We provide trainings, we explain how to use these functionalities, especially for companies who are not very used to using these kind of tools. And of course, we are always there to support you in some more difficult cases.
Thank you, Sabine. I would request Mahendra Atsul, if you can, what advisory you can provide to chemical companies so that they can lower their sustainability or they can achieve their sustainability goals.
Yes, Pravin. So what I think here is to achieve the sustainability, government has to go with the launch of the scheme like the PLI schemes that the government can offer for the achievement of sustainability, as well as Mr. Maulik rightly said, government should follow with this one policy, one country to achieve this sustainability goal. As well as what I think is we can create an very more solutions for energy efficient solutions, and along with this digitalization platform, and offer more solutions to achieve these sustainability for the next generations. Over to you,
Thank you, Mahendra. Your video was not being played at that point of time when you were making the presentation. So let me announce the winners first. So the winner for the first question, who is the Minister of State for Chemical and Fertilizers in Government of India, is Mr. Bhagwant Kuba, and the winner is Shriya Pandya, Consultant Capability Network Chemicals, Accenture. The second question was, what is current chemicals and petrochemical sector in India? This is around 178 billion. And the winner is Dr. Ishwar Rao Dhoni, Manager R&D, HPCL Green R&D Center. And the third question was, what is the name of the company, which is the world's largest chemical manufacturer? And the answer is VAST. And very surprisingly, even the winner is from VAST, and the person name is Janeshwar Hegde, Global Technology and Sourcing, VAST India Limited. One last word, we have another 5 minutes, so one last word from everybody, and then we wrap up the session. And let me start with the last speaker and then come to the first speaker. Mahendraji, your last thoughts on sustainability, earlier the better. If you can unmute yourself, sir.
Yes, thank you, Pravin. So at the last word, I would say every company has to follow to achieve the sustainability goals, and yes, definitely should be cautious on to the sustainability for the future requirements or future generation.
Sabine, your thoughts?
Yes, well, to reach sustainability, the earlier the better. I think one of your best tool for this is self-service analytics and data analysis in general, because the more you understand your processes, the more you can improve them and reach your targets.
Ankurji?
Well, I think the time has come where sustainability should be embedded into core of the business. Start from your current business, see where all improvement can be done. There is enough pong in the current ecosystem of chemical to be done. And whenever you're choosing the next expansion, next growth plan, look at the sustainable technology, something which exists for next 20, 25 years. And the sustainability angle is built into it. So that's where I think the sustainability has become the core of the business rather than just a side issue.
Maulikji?
Yeah, Pravinji, sustainability earlier is better but too much earlier is also causing a problem. Right, what we are facing right now, people talk about solar and wind so much, so people forget about the gas and fossil fuel. So that the energy crisis has reached earlier. So, at the right time, we have to think about sustainability in terms of energy, but in terms of the manufacturing, the sustainability, the ESG is the only focus has to be there for the growth. If you want to grow along with the consumption of India, that is the only way to grow in terms of recyclability, in terms of energy, in terms of effluent, in terms of water conservation. If you cannot think about this, you will not grow as India is growing, and you are not able to grow along with the quantity in terms of the volume as well as in terms of the value.
Samir ji.
I think it's the whole world is looking at sustainability. I think for companies that are innovative, there is a great time to take this opportunity, work with our partners around the globe, and make the world a much better sustainable place. If you give me permission, I'd like to end with Sahir Ludhianvi's statement कि माना के इस जमीन को गुलजार न कर सके, कुछ खार तो कम कर गए जिधर से गुजरे थे हम. So I hope that where we walk, we make the earth a little more beautiful than we found it. And he said it many years ago. I think we need to remind ourselves that we need to make it prettier.
Samir ji, I think it's a well apt quote to end with. Before I end, there is one question which I'd like to take, and we still have 3 minutes, so a short reply from you. And the question is from Dr. Ujjwal Vaishnav from ILS in Japan. And his question is, with all the ambitious plans for Indian chemicals, how are we prepared for sustaining this impetus with lack of feedstock? Example, if China decides not to supply methanol, a furan or 10 GK for that matter, it will pull the rug under our feet. So any quick reply? Anybody can take it. Maulik ji, Ankur ji, Samir ji. Ankur, if you can.
Well, I'll take it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take it up. See, the element of China in stock is addressed slowly. There is an expansion plan where most of the refineries are coming up and very aggressively. The government has a mandate that wherever India is short more than 50% of the chemical volume, that need to be made in India. One of the elements of pushing whole renewable ecosystem within India, that Indian government realizes that the whole petrochemical industry is going for a shift. So rather than depending on the imported set of feedstock, why not change the nature of the feedstock generation itself? So that's how so ultimately we may not go the cycle of dependence to surplus. We may alter the whole process of getting the feedstock access. So that's where Indian government is trying to work at. Yes, India is still deficit on the feedstock, and that story will continue to next 5 to 6 years. But in a long-term basis, we see completely a changed direction so far as the access is concerned.
Any thoughts from Samir ji and Maulik ji?
Yeah, see, China, we cannot, that is not the only way. But in the future, we believe that if you think alternative solutions, like. Hello. Yeah. If you think like propylene is not available in India, we should not have think the another solutions to come up with a glycerin-based epichlorohydrin plant. The same way, the people are finding the way if we do not have a feedstock, but how we can cater the consumption of India. If you think about the PVC case, the PVC is short supply in India. So how the big companies are planning a JV with another country, and how they can bring the precursor of the PVC to India and making the PVC capacity in a larger way in India to cater the Indian market. So there are ways and means, and government are doing a great job. Our expectations is always higher. So in last 7 years, government has not signed any FTA agreement. If you say that, because of the past FTA agreement, with the Thailand, Malaysia, people are spending money, new technologies are not coming to India, and people are investing to India in other countries for the Indian market. So this scenario will change. Now government is understand, to make it more competitive, to available all the feedstock in the coming times. They are working very hard. But always, for the entrepreneurs and for the Indian, Indian chemical companies, always, nothing is, people are not satisfied enough, and ye dil mange more always, So I think I would like to end with this. Thank you, Pravin ji. I think you are on silent mode, Pravin ji.
Samir ji, your thoughts, sir.
I just like to say that in response to what Mr. Vaishnav says, it was a global world, it is one, and it will remain one. We have to engage with the world around us. It is an interconnected economy. And while we continue to improve our Atmanirbharta, at the same time, we need to remain interconnected and work with each other all around the planet to go forward.
So many thanks to all our speakers. A big clap for them. And, so you can hear the clap from our production team at the back end. And I would like to thank all my speakers, Mr. Samir Somaiya, CMD Godavari Biorefineries Limited, Mr. Maulik Patel, CMD Meghmani Finechem Limited, Mr. Ankur Singh, Head Strategy and Business Development, GCM Shriram Limited, Ms. Sabine, Pietruch, Data Analytics Engineer, TrendMiner, and Mr. Atsul Mahendra Bhanudas, Manager Sales, Clean Technology Systems, Dur India. After this, we will have a presentation on Future of Analytical Labs, Smart and Intelligent Approach by Mr. Vivek Gyani, GC/GCMS, All India Business Manager, Agilent Technologies. Please stay tuned. Let us take a short break. Thank you.